Hi everybody, my name is Herbert Jimenez. I'm a realtor here in the Sacramento area, and in today's video we're going to debunk some real estate myths that you might heard of, read in a book, or somebody told you, swear by the dog, that it's true. By the way, when people swear and they say I swear by my dog, that's what you mean they're actually telling the truth, because I never met someone that said I swear by my dog and it was lying. Just FYI. Now, myth number one. You need a lot of money to buy a home. Now, this is just not true, okay? Traditionally, back in the day, I don't know, before I was born, yeah, it was traditionally for you to have to put, 20% down, or in some cases, even 50% down, right? But right now, it's just not true, right? If you want to do invest in properties, then yeah, you have to put 20% down, but that's a topic for another video. But if you want to buy a home where you want to live at, you want to buy your house, your home to raise your family for you to live in, then you can get a home as little as 3% down. Okay, that's how much money you have to buy a home. Now, just think about it. You want to buy a home that is $300,000, right? So if you have a home that is $300,000, you only need the 3%. That means that just by under $10,000, by having $9,000, you have enough money to buy a home. Now, keep in mind, there's closing costs and other things that also add up, but you already have the deposit now. Just with $9,000, you can get a $300,000 home. Now think about it. What other business, what other way by owning less than $10,000 you can buy something that is worth $300,000? Right? Make you guys think, right? Yes, I know you have to pay for the home and yada yada yada, but you get the point what I'm saying, right? You get to own something that is way expensive of the money that you need by just $9,000. Now, I have a video coming on this shortly, but there's a program right now where you can actually buy a home with only 1% down. This is crazy. I never seen this before. Now, you do have to qualify for this. So like I said, I'll have a video coming out soon. But imagine that. If you qualify for it, you get to buy a $300,000 home with just $3,000. Isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Now, so just blows my mind. Just blows my mind. Now, myth number one, you need a lot of money to buy a home. Debunk. It's not true. False. Now, myth number two. It is cheaper to rent than buying. Now, I have a whole video about benefits of owning a home versus renting. If you want to go a little more deep into it, I'll link it down below so you can take a look at the full video. But this is just not true. Okay? So, especially right now when interest rates are high, or higher than we're seeing in a few years, people think that renting is cheaper than buying, which is not true, depending on the price point. So now, the average home right here in Sacramento is going around $525, $530. So at that price point, it is cheaper to buy than rent. Oops, than rent. By how much? Not much. Some areas, depending on your credit, it might be almost the same, but we're missing the point. Okay, if you're buying a house that is $600, $700, then yeah, the rent might be cheaper than buying. But again, we are missing the point. Whenever you buy a home, sometimes you can see the effect of paying less right away, but we're not buying a home for the immediate satisfaction of paying less. We're buying a home for the satisfaction of knowing that in 3 to 5 years, your home is going to increase in value. Your mortgage is going to stay the same, okay? While the rent is gonna go up, okay? That's the important thing. In 3 to 5 years, your mortgage payment will be the same, but the rent is not going to be the same. The rent is going to increase, right? So keep in mind that if your mortgage is, let's say, $1,000, to keep things simple, right? And if your rent is also $1,000, these both are 2-bedroom home, 2 bathrooms. If you fast forward time and you move this by 5 years, and the numbers I'm giving to you is just an example. They're not the correct numbers, so just keep that in mind. But in 5 years, how much you think you're gonna pay for rent? The rent on a national level increases between 5 to 10% every single year. So we apply the minimum of 5% here. You are gonna be paying about $1,400, and that's just by the minimum. That's just 5%. We all know, depending on the area that you are, that will be more than 5% that they will be paying more every single year. But just going for the minimum, now you're paying $1,400 in 5 years. That's almost 50%. In the other hand, your mortgage, guess what? It stays the same. So you're saving right now $400 every single month just by owning. That itself is just amazing. Now let's take into consideration how much your appreciation of your home now is after 5 years, right? Again, the normal appreciation for a home is between 3 to 7% every single year, right? So if you buy a home that is worth $300,000, now remember, it's 3 to 7% every single year in appreciation for your home. Sometimes it's lower, sometimes it's higher. The average is between 3 to 7%. Let's call it 5, just to be fair. Now, remember, the first year is 5% of $300,000. Will be $315,000, okay? Now, the next year will be a 5%, of the new price. You get where I'm going? And that's just wealth that you get to build by you just not doing anything. Just putting your hands in the pocket and just, you bought a home, now get it, appreciate year by year by year, even higher and higher and higher. And that is something that you can just not do with rent. All right, myth number 3. You cannot buy a home with bad credit. Again, this is a myth. Yes, absolutely you can. Now, there are some limitations, and let me explain. Now, again, back in the day, you do have to have a perfect, 760, 740 above a score to be able to buy a home. But nowadays, there's so many programs that help you buy a home for people that don't have the greatest credit. Now, there's still some limitations, right? If your credit is, in the 400s or 500s, you need to work a little bit more. There's a lot of companies, you can talk to you can talk to a lender. The lender can point you in the right direction, get the phone number of some company that can help you build that credit back up. But if your credit is, in some cases, even 580 and above, but most of the cases 620 and above, absolutely, you can buy a home. Now, That's what is very important, to speak with a lender. The lender will have all the programs available which you can qualify for. So if you have bad credit, quote unquote, bad credit, it really doesn't matter. That should not stop you from buying a home. You should always talk to the lender. Even if you think that you have zero possibilities of buying a home because your credit is bad, always, always, always speak with a lender. You'll be surprised the programs that they have available for you that you can take advantage of. That you can take advantage of. And even if you're not ready, they can guide you, they can help you. They will help you get good credit. Get good credit. Okay, I want to share something real quick, 30 seconds. Whenever me and my wife were looking to buy in our first house, we spoke with a lender, all right? He answered all the questions, everything was amazing. But the point I want to get at is that we were not ready, okay? Not even close. I had bad credit. Yes, thanks for my not very smart decisions, I had bad credit. And then my wife was very new to working, so she didn't have the history of work. So we didn't qualify for a loan. We didn't qualify to buy a home. So we sit down with the lender and we ask her what we can do. She helped us create a strategy, create a road for us to follow. She tells us, you guys have to do this and this and this and this, and then we write it down. We created a plan for us to get our credit better. And then she estimated that within 2 years we will be able to buy the home that we wanted. Right? And yeah, I know what you're saying. Sorry, 2 years sounds a lot. It is a lot. It's 2 years, right? But the thing is that it could be 2 years, or it could be never. Which one do you want to choose? I'll go for the 2 years, because that makes sure that I have a home. I will own a home in 2 years instead of never owning a home, right? And the thing is that, you can be surprised sometimes, because we follow everything that the lender told us to the teeth. Everything. We created a budget. We focus on paying our debt. We focus on creating more income coming to the household. And actually, instead of being 2 years, we actually managed to qualify for a home in 11 months. Not even the year. Not even the year. In 11 months, she reached out back to us, doing a regular checkup, and then we answered the questions that she asked us, and she said, hey, let me, run your credit. Let me run your credit again, because I think that you guys are there. And she did. She did run our credit, and we were there. She said, "Hey, you guys are worked really hard. You guys can buy a home." And within, 2 months after that, we found a home that we wanted, and we bought it. But that's just to show you that talking to a lender, even if you're not ready, can really, really help you. Because we couldn't just say, screw it, we don't want to buy a house, it tells us no, and right now I would be renting. I would be paying somebody else's mortgage, but instead of, I'm paying my own. Okay, myth number 4. And this is for the home buyers. If I'm working with the seller agent, I going to get a deal. This is sometimes not true. And let me explain. So, whenever you're buying a home, real quick, there's two parties, the buyers and the sellers. The sellers have a real estate agent that is representing them, and the buyers have a real estate agent that is also representing them. They work together so they can get home into agreement and they can make the transaction happen, right? Sometimes an agent can represent both of them. A lot of people think that by having the same agent that is representing the sellers represent you, they will get a deal. Now, this is sometimes true, but most of the time it's not. Why? You still have to do, as an agent, you still have to do a lot of things that you would do, whether if you're working with somebody else, that if you're representing both parties. So why would an agent charge you less if he's doing the same amount of work? You can make some argument about this by saying, yeah, but now they don't have to deal with another agent. Yeah, that's true. They don't have to deal with another agent, but now they have to deal with the buyer, right? And I will argue that it's easier for them to talk to an agent, so that way, because the agent knows what they're doing, knows about the contract and everything, that now talking to the buyer, sometimes you educate the buyer, or you know, just dealing with both the parties at the same time. I would argue that's a harder job. I would say maybe they need to charge a little bit more if they're representing the both parties, right? But at the end of the day, even if you're getting a deal, even if you're, instead of, you know, charging 5% to say, you know, if I represent both parties, instead of doing the 5%, I'm going to do a 4%, right? Because I'm representing the both parties, whatever. If you're a buyer, I will strongly not suggest you to have the same agent representing the seller represent you. Why? Most often than not, an agent will have a little more loyalty to the seller, okay? And there's a lot of reasons why I don't want to get into it, but there's most often than not, an agent will have a little more loyalty to the seller. Also, it is harder to reassure you that an agent that's representing both parties will get you, the buyer, the best deal at the same time that the agent is promised to the seller that is getting it the best deal. You know what I mean? Some cases, yeah, this could happen, but most of the cases, I mean, you gotta pick. You either make the seller happy or you either make the buyer happy. Most of the cases, they will choose to make the seller happier. Now, if you have two agents, one is representing you and one is representing the seller, now it's better because this agent that is representing you, representing the buyer, doesn't care about the seller, right? He only cares about you. So he can guarantee that he will give you the best deal that he can, or at least do everything in his power to make sure that you're happy. So that is why having the same agent represent you both will not get you a deal. Okay, myth number 5. And this is one of my favorites. I am waiting for the market to crash. All right, how many times have we heard that? Oh, the market is about to crash. Oh, just wait until the market is gonna crash. It's gonna happen soon. This is a myth, and let me tell you why. I've been hearing for the market to crash since before I knew what the market was. That's how long I've been hearing about the market is going to crash. Or it's going to happen. It's going to be next month. It didn't happen this month. It's going to be the next one. It's going to be next year. Just wait, just wait, just wait. And then you're waiting, and then you're waiting, and the opportunity of buying a home slips through your hands. You should never wait for the market to crash. First of all, because we don't know if it's going to crash. Like I said, we were waiting for the market to crash for years. It has never happened. We just don't know when it's going to happen, or if it's even going to happen. If you have someone that's telling you, hey, I know the market is going to crash for sure, he's lying, because you don't know. Now, this is why every time somebody asks me when is a good time to buy, I always say a good time to buy is today. Why? Why today? Because I cannot go back in time to the past to buy real estate, because time travel has not been invented yet that we know of to go back in time to buy the deal when it was a good time. All right, I cannot go back to the 1930s to buy a home really cheap because I cannot go back in time. I can also, thanks to time travel not being invented yet, I can also not go to the future, okay? Or know what the future will look like. With that being said, I don't know what deals will be in the future. I don't know whether the market is going to crash or not. I don't know if houses are going to be super expensive or if the house market is going to come down in price. I don't know. What I do know is what's happening today, okay? So that's why my answer to when is a good time to buy is always today, because we know what the market is going. And keep in mind, if you're buying a home for yourself, whether if it's an investment, we can talk about it in another video, but if you want to buy a home for yourself, it really does not matter whether it's a good time or a bad time. Think about it. You're buying a home for you to live in, most likely for a while. The average homeowner stays in a house between 5 to 7 years, okay? In those 5 to 7 years, it will be hard, almost impossible. I just don't want to say the word impossible, but it will be almost impossible for you to at least don't break even in your house. I would say 99% of the time, in those 5 to 7 years, your house will be worth way more than when you bought it from. Your equity in your house will grow up. Your house will be more valuable. Whether you bought it in a good market or in a bad market, it really does not matter. So please do not listen or do not believe or do not base your decision and your opinion of buying a home on waiting for the market to crash, because this is just it's not gonna happen. You cannot predict it. You should not base your decision on something that you do not know. Base your decision on whether it's a good time to buy a home based on today. Can you afford a house that you want today? Do you have good credit? Are you pre-qualified? Does the houses that you want are in the market right now? Are you in a position to buy? Is it a good move? If it's a good move today to buy, that's why you should do it. If you cannot qualify to buy a home and you want to do it in a few months, that's also okay. I'm not saying don't buy. If you're not ready today, don't buy it. I'm just saying don't wait for the market to crash, because that's something that is no guarantee. And we'll be waiting for the market to crash for a long time. It just ain't happening. And there you go. Those are 5 myths that I hear all the time about real estate that just lies. They're not true. Now, I always recommend you to talk to a professional lender, to a professional realtor, so they can educate you, so they can give you more information, that they can tell you the facts and not the myths. If you find this video informative, if you like this video, please just hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you want to know more tips and tricks about real estate. My name is Herbert Jimenez. I'm a realtor here in Sacramento area. I'll see you on the next video.